Yes, we're delighted to be joined on the Friday Night Club, of course, by Peter Fahey. Peter, many congratulations. Thanks for taking the time out to chat to myself and Fran. Many congratulations at Belfast Banter, winning the county hurdle today. Your first Cheltenham success as trainer. Well done.
Yeah, look, it was brilliant. It was something I kind of always dreamed of. I'd have given anything to have a Cheltenham winner, and I suppose I thought I had a great chance yesterday and things didn't work out and that, but thrilled to get one today, you know.
And Peter, he got a lovely trip throughout, and our eye was drawn to Kevin Sexton around 2 out. He was just getting a lovely run through, and as long as the gaps keep opening for him, he was always going to be bang there, wasn't he, from 2 out?
He was, yeah. Look, I suppose our biggest thing with him, he's a strong traveller, so he always catches your eye through a race, and he's well known for not for finishing out great. But look, he picked a great day in today to finish out anyway, for definite. You know, from the back of the last, he actually said I had really well, which is surprised. But it's great. He lightweight in his back as well too, which is a huge help. But Kevin gave him a great ride, in fairness.
And he settled really well today, because in the past he can be a little bit keen in his races, can't he?
He can be very keen, and that's his problem. And then exactly what Kevin says, when you give him an inch of range and start picking off one, he actually comes in the bridle too much. He lights up and he ends up getting there and not finishing out. But going a faster run race, I suppose, it was a big help for him. You know, I think he ran a good race it was called the Old English Stabbook, I suppose, in Ascot there a couple of months back, you know, and he ran a good race there, and that gave us the inkling if we get him up enough in the weights to get him into the county hurdle, you know, that was our aim.
Great stuff. And Peter, tell us how he came about getting this horse. He won his bumper in Newton Abbot, of course, for Dan Skelton.
Yeah, Fergal O'Neill bought him out of I think it was the Cheltenham sale after being placed in Pint, and he decided to leave him in England with the option of getting him sold. And Dan Skelton trained him. He was placed and then won a bumper, and didn't have anyone for him to buy him, so Fergal sent him back home to me. And we tipped away with him then, and we didn't go for bumper. We ran him a few maiden hurdles. He ran 7 or 8 maiden hurdles. He was knocking on the door in every one of them. And then eventually, I suppose, he won in Galway. But it was Fergal's opinion initially to buy him to win a bumper in England and get him sold, but it didn't work out. And then when he travelled back here, then we're lucky enough to have him, you know, and kept him along.
And Fergal O'Neill, he's a big supporter of all your team of Rawfield Stables. He
is, yeah. Fergal, in fairness, he has a good few horses with us. Like we've sold on a good few for him as well. But look, he's very loyal owner, and he's there the whole time with us. You know, he's a huge help to the yard. And
Peter, obviously, this means so much to you. Can you just put it into words what it describes? Obviously, it's a very tight run operation. Kevin Sexton stable jockey, your wife, her is assistant trainer, and your main work rider as well. Your daughter Kate rides out as well. What does it mean for the Faheys here today to have your first winner at the Cheltenham Festival?
It's actually, I couldn't believe it. It was funny enough, we're speaking to Kevin on the phone, and Bear was giving her a beat, and she was saying to Kevin, make sure whatever you do, don't go too soon, you know. So that was fine. Well, I don't know what she'd have done as a jockey herself, because he wasn't within 100 yards of second last hurdle, and she was jumping around. She was heading for the screen herself, you know. So she wasn't using any weighting tactics. But I look at it first. We're a small enough yard, and it's great for everyone involved. You know, Kevin. Look, he's here every morning. He's a hard worker. He's a good rider. He showed that there again today. And in fairness, no one rides out the horse at home anywhere. She rides work with him. She does everything with the horse. He's a short enough action mover, and she suits him, you know. But in fairness, Bear does an awful lot with the horse.
And Peter, obviously fantastic today. Royal Kahala, how's she after run? I thought she had a big chance in the Mayor's Hurl. Didn't run up to form, but that's not her.
It's not her at all, Fran. No, look, she was lame after a race. She went back to the vets afterwards, and she was lame. And then when I checked her, it's funny enough, I checked her about an hour later, and she was worse. But when she came off the lorry then this morning, she wasn't too bad. She was slightly lame. But look, we're going to go through her with the vets completely and see there's something amiss with her. Both her last runs, she came home a bit sore afterwards, and we thought we had her spot on going over there. Like, her homework was brilliant, and she just ran no race. She was bet from flagfall, the same as her last run. She hasn't been the same filly. Like, I think a small excuse be blaming the ground and blaming bits and pieces, but she never travelled like a winner. And her jumping was so good, she'd have been tailed off.
Yeah, that can happen. And Peter, plans going forward, Belfast Banter, Punchestown, Fairhouse Hall coming up ahead of him, of course, Aintree possibly. Where would you be thinking? Anywhere's bonus after today, I'm sure.
Yeah, anywhere's a bonus. Look, initially, if I actually thought he'd get up enough to get into a Galway hurdle, I think, you know, he's not a strong finisher, but after winning the maiden hurdle around Galway, I'd love to go back there with him. That would be the plan. And he jumps the fence very well as well, so we won't hang about too much over hurdles with him if he happens to to switch the fences. But like, look at initially, I suppose if he thought he'd enough weight, we'd love to go for Galway Hurdle.
And speaking of Galway, Peregrine Run, we know you well from being a fantastic horse for the stable. He's probably getting on a bit now, but will he be back this year for the summer festivals?
He is, yeah. He actually done a good bit up the bush to the morning. It worked very well. So he'll tip away. Like, we've no initial plan for him. Wherever races kind of fall into pattern for him and the ground dries up, he'll run away. He never got his ground last year. You know, like the ground, in fairness, he won a chase, a graded chase in Killarney first, and then our whole plan was to go to Galway with him. And sure, from the first day of Galway, it started raining, and he never had his ground after that. So look, he'll tip away. He's actually in great form, working well. So he'll tip away in plenty of demo races on good ground, you know, whether it be hurdles or fences.